Have you ever walked into your garden, looked at your tomato plants and thought, "These look incredible, so why am I not getting the harvest I expected?" You're not imagining it. Some of the biggest, greenest tomato plants end up producing the fewest tomatoes. And the reason usually isn't bad weather, bad luck, or even the variety you planted. It's what happens this week. Right now, your tomato plants are making decisions. Where to send energy, which fruit to grow, which leaves to keep alive. And a few small mistakes during this stage can quietly reduce your harvest long before you notice anything is wrong. The good news? You don't need expensive products or complicated tricks to turn things around. Today, I'm sharing 7 things you should do to your tomatoes this week that can lead to healthier plants, fewer problems, and a much bigger harvest later this summer. One of these surprised me so much that it's become the first thing I check every single season, and the last one quietly improves almost everything else on this list. If you enjoy practical gardening advice that saves time, saves money, and helps you grow more food at home, subscribe to Serene Green Gardens. Every week, we share simple, science-backed gardening tips that actually work in real backyards. Let's start with the mistake that often begins weeks before gardeners realize they have a problem. Number 1. Remove the leaves that are quietly inviting disease. If your tomato plants always seem to develop yellow leaves from the bottom first, there's a reason. And no, it's usually not because they're hungry. Most fungal diseases don't start in the middle of the plant. They start at the bottom. Here's why. Every time rain hits bare soil, or you water from above, tiny fungal spores can splash onto the lowest leaves. You can't see it happening, but once those leaves stay damp for a while, disease has the perfect opportunity to get established. The frustrating part? By the time those yellow spots become obvious, the infection has often been there for days. That's why this week's job is so important. Take a few minutes and remove any leaves touching the soil. Then clear the lower 8 to 12 inches of the stem if the plant is tall enough. Don't strip the plant. You're simply creating space. That little pocket of open air does something surprisingly powerful. It allows the lower part of the plant to dry faster after rain, improves airflow, and makes it much harder for common diseases like early blight and septoria to spread upward. Think of it as changing the environment instead of fighting the disease after it arrives. I learned this lesson the hard way. One season I skipped this step because the plants looked too healthy to prune. A few weeks later, the bottom half of several plants was covered with spotted yellow leaves, while another row I'd cleaned up earlier stayed healthy much longer. The difference wasn't the fertilizer. It wasn't the weather. It was 15 minutes of maintenance. And here's something many gardeners don't realize. Every healthy leaf is helping make sugars that feed your tomatoes. The longer those leaves stay healthy, the longer your plants can keep producing quality fruit. So don't wait until the damage is obvious. Stay ahead of it. Because the next mistake is one almost every gardener makes at least once. And it often starts with good intentions. Number 2. Stop pruning every sucker. Ask 10 gardeners how to prune tomatoes, and you'll probably hear 10 different answers. Remove every sucker. Never remove suckers. Just let the plant do its thing. So who's right? Honestly, none of them. Here's what changed the way I prune tomatoes. I stopped asking, how do I grow the biggest plant? And started asking, how do I grow the biggest harvest? Those are 2 very different goals. Every sucker, the small shoot growing between a leaf and the main stem, has the potential to become another fruit-producing branch. That sounds like a good thing, but there's a catch. Every new branch also needs water, nutrients, sunlight, and energy. Leave every sucker on an indeterminate tomato, and by midsummer you often end up with a tangled jungle that's harder to harvest, harder to inspect, and much more likely to trap humidity. That's when problems begin. Instead, remove the small suckers near the bottom of the plant while they're young. It only takes a gentle pinch with your fingers. Higher up, you have more flexibility. If your tomatoes have plenty of room and strong support, leaving 1 or 2 healthy suckers can actually increase production because they'll form additional flower clusters. That's the part many gardening videos leave out. Tomatoes don't reward extreme pruning. They reward smart pruning. Now here's an exception that's worth remembering. If you're growing determinate varieties like Roma or Celebrity, avoid heavy pruning. These plants naturally grow to a set size and produce much of their harvest over a shorter period. Removing too much growth can mean removing future tomatoes. It's one of those mistakes you usually don't discover until harvest. There's another benefit to balanced pruning that has nothing to do with production. Picture yourself walking into the garden after a summer rain. Instead of pushing vines aside trying to figure out what's happening inside the plant, you immediately spot flowers opening, fruit beginning to ripen, or even a hornworm before it strips half the foliage. That visibility saves time. It also saves harvests. Experienced gardeners aren't constantly reacting to problems. They notice them early, while they're still small. And speaking of small problems, the next one doesn't usually give you much warning. One afternoon your tomato branch looks perfectly healthy. The next morning, it's lying on the ground with 6 weeks worth of tomatoes attached to it. That's next. Number 3. Support heavy branches before they snap. That heartbreaking crack usually doesn't happen because your tomato plant is weak. It happens because the fruit got stronger. Here's something most gardeners underestimate. A cluster of tomatoes that's barely noticeable today can weigh several pounds just a couple of weeks later. Add a windy afternoon or a summer thunderstorm, and a healthy-looking branch can suddenly split. Once it breaks, there's usually no putting it back. That's why this week's job is to support the plant before it starts asking for help. Walk around each tomato plant and look underneath, not just at the top. Check branches carrying several developing tomatoes. If a stem is beginning to bend or pull away from the main plant, add support now. Soft plant ties, tomato clips, garden twine, or sturdy cages all work well. The key is giving the branch room to grow without tying it so tightly that it cuts into the stem. Here's the unexpected benefit. Supporting branches isn't just about preventing breakage. It also makes your garden easier to manage. Fruit stays cleaner because it isn't resting against damp soil. Air moves through the plant more freely. Harvesting takes half the time because you're not digging through tangled vines looking for hidden tomatoes. And there's one more advantage that surprised me. The more organized your plants become, the easier it is to notice when something isn't right. A damaged leaf, a chewed stem, a tomato starting to crack. Small problems rarely stay small if you don't see them. Which brings us to the mistake that's responsible for more cracked tomatoes and blossom end rot than almost anything else. Ironically, most gardeners think they're helping when they do it. Number 4. Stop watering on a schedule. If you water your tomatoes every evening because that's what you've always done, this tip could completely change your results. Tomatoes don't care what day it is. They care whether the soil stays consistent. Here's why that matters. When soil swings from very dry to soaking wet, the plant suddenly absorbs large amounts of water. Ripening fruit expands faster than the skin can stretch, leading to cracked tomatoes. Those same swings can also interfere with the plant's ability to move calcium into developing fruit, increasing the risk of blossom end rot. Many gardeners immediately buy calcium sprays, but if watering stays inconsistent, the problem often comes right back. So instead of watering by the calendar, water by the soil. Push your finger 2 or 3 inches into the ground. If it still feels cool and slightly damp, wait another day. If it's dry, water deeply enough to soak the root zone instead of just wetting the surface. Deep watering encourages deeper roots, making plants more resilient during hot weather. Morning is usually the best time because any moisture on the leaves has time to dry before evening, reducing disease pressure. And here's something I wish I'd learned years earlier. Healthy tomato plants usually need consistent watering, not constant watering. There's a huge difference. Once I stopped watering out of habit and started paying attention to the soil, I spent less time with the hose, and my tomatoes actually looked better. Funny how that works. Now, before we move on, have you ever grown a tomato plant that looked absolutely beautiful, but barely produced fruit? If so, the next tip probably explains why. Number 5. Feed for tomatoes, not for leaves. We've all done it. The plant slows down a little, so we reach for fertilizer. Seems logical. But here's the catch. The wrong fertilizer at the wrong time can give you exactly the opposite result you're hoping for. A tomato plant loaded with nitrogen often produces gorgeous dark green leaves. Everyone admires it. Meanwhile, the neighbor's smaller plant is loaded with tomatoes. Once your plants are flowering and setting fruit, they don't need endless encouragement to grow leaves. They need balanced nutrition that supports flowering and fruit development. A quality tomato fertilizer or healthy soil, enriched with finished compost, usually does exactly that. Healthy soil deserves more credit than it gets. It holds moisture longer, supports beneficial microbes, helps roots explore deeper, and slowly releases nutrients instead of flooding the plant all at once. That's one reason experienced gardeners focus on feeding the soil, not just the plant. And remember, more fertilizer rarely fixes a struggling tomato. Sometimes, it creates the next problem. Steady growth almost always beats rapid growth. If you've found a fertilizer that consistently works in your garden, let everyone know in the comments. Gardeners across different climates often discover products and techniques others have never tried. Now we've talked about preventing disease, supporting heavy fruit, watering properly, and feeding wisely. But there's one habit that quietly ties all of those together, and it's probably the easiest one of all. Number 6. Spend 2 minutes looking, not just watering. Here's a question. When was the last time you actually inspected your tomato plants? Not watered them, not picked tomatoes, just looked. It sounds almost too simple, but this is one habit that separates experienced gardeners from everyone else. The best gardeners don't have superhuman instincts. They simply notice small problems before they become expensive ones. Try this every couple of days. Walk slowly around each plant. Lift a few leaves. Look underneath. Check the growing tips. Take 10 or 15 seconds per plant. You'd be surprised what you catch. A hornworm before it strips half the foliage. A cluster of aphids before they spread. The first signs of early blight while it's still confined to 1 or 2 leaves. A tomato beginning to crack before insects discover it first. Those little discoveries matter, because almost every major tomato problem starts as a small one. And here's something that's easy to forget. Not every yellow leaf means disaster. Not every curled leaf means disease. Plants naturally change as they grow, especially during hot weather. The question isn't, is every leaf perfect? It's, is something getting worse? That's the mindset shift. Instead of reacting with panic, you begin looking for patterns. That confidence comes with experience. And experience comes from paying attention. It's one of the simplest habits you can build, and one of the most valuable. But if there were one thing that quietly made every tip in this video work better, this would be it. Number 7. Mulch before summer heat does the damage. If your tomato roots could make one request this week, they'd probably ask for mulch. It may not look exciting, but few garden jobs give you a bigger return for less effort. Think about everything we've covered. Keeping disease down, watering consistently, growing stronger plants, reducing stress. Mulch helps with all of it. A 2 to 3 inch layer of straw, shredded leaves, untreated grass clippings that have dried slightly, or finished compost protects the soil like a blanket. It slows evaporation, keeps the soil cooler during heat waves, reduces weeds competing for water and nutrients. And when heavy rain falls, it prevents soil from splashing onto the lower leaves, one of the easiest ways fungal diseases spread. Just remember to keep mulch a couple of inches away from the main stem, so excess moisture doesn't stay trapped against it. Here's what surprised me most after making mulching a habit. I wasn't just watering less. The entire garden became easier to manage. Plants stayed healthier during long stretches of hot weather. The soil stayed more consistent. Weeding became quicker. Even the tomatoes seemed to ripen more evenly. One simple layer solved several problems at once. That's smart gardening. Not working harder. Setting your garden up so it practically helps itself. And when you combine mulch with everything else we've covered, clean lower leaves, thoughtful pruning, strong support, consistent watering, balanced feeding, and regular inspections, you've created the kind of environment where tomatoes naturally thrive. None of these jobs are difficult. Most can be finished in a single afternoon. But together, they can completely change what your harvest looks like a few weeks from now. Imagine walking into your garden next month. Instead of spotting yellow leaves, broken branches, and cracked tomatoes, you're carrying out baskets filled with firm, healthy fruit. That's not the result of one secret trick. It's the result of doing the right small things at the right time. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 7 tips has made the biggest difference in your garden? Or is there another tomato growing habit you never skip? Share it in the comments. Your experience could help another gardener save this season's harvest. And if you don't want to lose tomatoes to mistakes that are completely avoidable, watch the next video where I break down 10 tomato growing mistakes that silently reduce your harvest every single year. chances are, at least one of them is affecting your garden right now. Thanks for watching Serene Green Gardens. Until next time, happy gardening, and I'll see you in the next video.